what it do, what the business is. This is another week in the books with the On Deck TV show. I'm bringing us in solo this week. No AB. He is out on assignment. What a week to miss, man. But we have some spectacular replacement in his place, man. Y'all know the voice. I've heard him here before just a couple of weeks ago, actually, man. My guy, Nikki Duce, frames per second, with all due disrespect, dead in sports. The resume precedes itself. How you feeling out there this week?
I'm good. I'm good, bro. It's good to be here. I'm sorry AB ain't is off on assignment on this episode because I wanted to hear his thoughts because I mean, we're gonna get into it later, but I just wanted to hear his thoughts on a couple things that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, I had this whole thing planned out for this episode, man, but a couple of other recordings got ran too late, so we didn't get to do those. I was gonna have him extra come on too. The people would have really enjoyed that heavy J. Cole apologist. So that would have been funny as far as what he had to say versus
We
I think,
we should do a part two then. We should do a
yeah,
part
we
two.
definitely should do that. And I'm gonna see when
Yeah.
I can plan that and we talk about this again. But it's been a busy week, man. Nick, couple of the things that happened before we get into it. Joe Budden claims he has the best mixtape catalog ever. Glorilla dropped her debut album. Benzino is making a documentary about the 95 Source Awards. And Pharrell appears on Hot Ones and he's eating his chicken wings with a knife and a fork. We'll get into all of those things, Nick. But the news of the weekend. Just recently, man, J. Cole dropped on his Instagram a brand new song, and he partly addressed the Kendrick and Drake beef with a couple, you can call them controversial bars. Like some people loved them, some people hated them, some people were right there in the middle of it. My question to you, Nick, you came in first hot. You hit me on the text, and I got to be on this week. Because I don't think y'all going to hit it. Pause. Like I'm going to hit on what I want to hit on with the J. Cole shit. So I'm going to open the floor to you and tell me what you thought about J. Cole's song.
Well, I gotta provide context. If you watch that in sports, you know I'm trying to be mild mannered Nick, so I'm not trying to do
Mm.
too many hot takes this football season. It's more sports related. But since this is talking about hip hop, it's also a sport in itself. I hit up the chat that me, Lou, and AB in because I didn't when this shit dropped, you
Port
know,
Antonio, that's the name of it. I
yeah,
forgot
Port
the
Antonio
Port
dropped.
Antonio.
The streets hit me up first, Lou. You already know how I stay tapped into this. So the streets hit me up first. I had to just spread the information as I do. And the first thing that I heard that I was surprised about was both AB and I think you too, Lou, were in agreement with this. Is like, oh, this is a fire ass track. This is the code that people remember. And before the beef happened, like what they were, claiming was, possibly number one in this big three conversation. The one thing I took away from this though was this didn't sound like what that description was. This sounded to me
Mm.
like this more so sounded to me like, all right, y'all, I know I fucked up, but here's why. Right. And the reason why I said that is because to me, if he left out that whole Drake stuff by mentioning him and mentioning that part, this probably would have hit a little bit harder for me as far as like, okay, this is like Cole is back in session. His next album, which may be his last album, is going to be something to be, that's a moment in hip hop slash music history. But when he mentioned the whole Cole, I mean the whole Drake reference thing and all those lines, it just kind of been like, all right, bro, why? Why are you bringing this up again? We already accepted, like, again, for those who are listening to this track, we've already accepted what you did. We just trying to move on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, it's just like when you well, I ain't gonna say when, but there's times in a man's life where he may have cheated on somebody, right? And then she took him back, right? And then she keep bringing up old shit, and he be like, "All right, nigga, I thought we
She
was
never leave it
past that
alone.
shit. Wait, nigga, like I didn't want to bring that shit up ever again if I could." Type shit. Why the fuck you
Mhm.
keep talking about it? That's the mindset. That's the kind of energy I got from that track. Was like, why the fuck you talking about this? And then for you to say what you said, it's like, oh hell nah. What? The gun that ain't got no bullets is still as dangerous as the gun that got it. Like, what are you talking about, bro? This is that shit that was off of Don't Be a Menace. When he was like, red fish, blue fish. Like, nigga, what? No, I don't want to hear that goofy ass shit. Nigga, just rap. Just do what you do best, and that's rap about shit that ain't got nothing to do with you competing.
Mm. Q said this in the dead end sports chat that we have, and
You said a lot of he said a
he
lot of
said a
things.
lot of shit, and I'm gonna let Q. I should have. That's who I should have brought on.
We can't bring
Uh,
him on this platform. He'll
nah,
say too,
nah, dude.
say too much. He'll turn your half your audience off.
But it does get boring when niggas rap about how good of a rapper they are, and I really didn't even pay attention to that till Q started saying it, and that's the bag that J. Cole is in. And to be honest with you, it's okay. It's been an entertaining bag till it was time to show how good of a
Exactly.
rapper that you were. And then you're like, nah, nah, y'all got it, bro. I'm cool. So, like, I'm with you. I didn't need clarification on the Drake shit was okay, but the way he's thinking about it was not okay. It's cool if you want to address it because you haven't since you bowed out. And then you did the 7 minute drill, you took that offline. But now you're coming to address it, and my problem with addressing it is you still acting like, oh, I'm that nigga. And it's okay for you to thank you that nigga, I guess. But when you tell me, oh, my friends went to war and I left with their blood on me, like, bro, nobody died. Nobody was going to die. It wasn't going to be that type of party. He was hyping it up and making it a lot more quote unquote violent than I think it was ever going to get. These are two mainstream stars, and I know people can say Pac and Big and Nipsey, and they can say all of these things, but I never seen this going there. So for J. Cole to act like I did myself a favor and avoided something dangerous, I'm not buying that, bro. You say you want to be the number one rapper, but then you act like when it's time to be number one, oh, I value friendship over rap. That's cool. Then rap about friendship, nigga. Don't come to me rapping about being the number one rapper when you have no inclination on going through the thing to be the number one rapper. You ain't willing to go like essentially take Kendrick Lamar head off. Who cares if y'all niggas not friends for 3 or 4 years? Jay-Z and Nas made up. Most of the niggas that's in beef made up. Jada Kiss was just cooking on Benny Siegel truck, a food truck not too long ago. This shit isn't permanent, but he showed he doesn't have the testicular fortitude to like be right there in the moment as the number one. And one credit I will give to Drake and another credit I'll give to Kendrick, which is why these guys will be number one and number two, respectively. They friendship don't really matter to them. We just seen Drake get on stage and be like, none of these niggas is fucking with me. Like, I don't fuck with none of them. Like, all my friends betrayed me, is essentially what we heard Drake just now say. And we know how Kendrick Lamar feel. Like, I don't fuck with none of you niggas. But for J. Cole to hold friendship in such a high regard and still try to convince us that he's the best rapper, like schematically, he did his thing on this song. It was great. Like, yeah, you rapped your ass off. But the context of it just didn't sit right with me or a lot of people out there, and it sounds like you.
Yeah, for me, it was just like, you know how light skinned niggas is, but they gonna hype up some more shit when it comes to the blood. He was like the blood on my jersey or whatever, and I didn't want to be in the battle and all that shit. And it's just like I don't think he may have even rapped that to mean that it was gonna get violent, but I think how he felt about the battle was just like it felt violent. You know what I'm saying? And there's some, I guess you can lean into that too, but it's also just like the fact of I didn't really think he always seemed like he's a day one type of dude, meaning like the people he met before the rap game mean more to him than the people he met after being in the rap game. And
Mm-hmm.
I just never valued his relationship with Drake on that high level. He must have made a lot of money with that motherfucker to where he like,
Mm-hmm.
look, nigga, I
Mm-hmm.
gotta make sure we good. Cause this little nigga that's my homie just popped off. It's like remember when Ghost would try to mend fences with somebody because Tommy popped off. You know what I'm saying? It's like I fuck with Tommy, my nigga, but like at the same time, nigga, you popped off on him. He gonna retaliate.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
just
facts.
I didn't realize that he meant that much to him. So it's just like, oh, you really value this as a friendship because I'm just thinking again, it's just rap. What are we
We're
talking about?
industry shit.
Exactly.
Industry shit. Yeah, y'all
Like
niggas not friends for real.
he's from Toronto, you from North Carolina. How did y'all would have never met in life, period, if it wasn't for just rap business. You know what I'm saying? Just like Kendrick, look at him and you in that light as far as like, in my concern, based off how he responded or how he just went off the top with everybody. So it's just like I didn't realize you cared about your relationship, business, and seems like personal wise with Drake enough to where not only do you want to bow out of a fucking rap, a legendary ass rap battle, but you're also even willing to come back and say, my bad. Don't make I want to make sure that everybody know that like me being on all these other niggas tracks and shit like that who don't fuck with you means nothing because I'm still your homie. That was just more of like, all right, bro, you doing too much. You damn near glazing the motherfucker. Like he talking about some he helped me in my career. I'm like, nigga, fuck first person shooter going number one. You was J.
Yeah,
Cole before all that shit. Your
yeah.
biggest records ain't got shit to do with Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, you only got two records with Drake from what I know.
And even if he did help him, I get it behind the scenes and I get valuing someone's contribution to your career. But don't push that shit on us, nigga. We don't care. Like, we don't care how good of a friends that you and Drake are. And one of my biggest gripes or takeaways from this is I go back to that story that he always tells when he said he had the same shirt on at some award show as French Montana and another nigga, and he was too caught up with not wanting to be himself and trying to please everyone else. And then he found himself in the same fit as two other niggas in the award show. And from then on, he decided, I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna be J. Cole. But intertwined into all of this, I still see that person who's trying to please everybody else because there is a way that you could have went into this beef. I didn't like when he said, "Oh, you wanted me to pay the streamers and get the dirt up on people and do all of these things like you two niggas did," and that's not me. That's fine. There's still a way for you to participate in this beef and make niggas respect you without bowing out, without having to do the shit that Kendrick Lamar and Drake did. They chose to take it there. We've seen J. Cole diss Wale. We've seen him diss Kanye West. He let Nas down. That introspective, in the moment, this is what's happening and this is how I'm feeling about it. That's the way he could have took this beef. He could have been like appalled that I can't believe you niggas is out here calling each other domestic violence and pedophiles. That could have been an approach that he took on a track to let people know I rap this good and I don't got to do the bullshit that they did and throw the low blows that they did. If it don't work, it don't work. I lose. But he wasn't even willing to try that. And that's what I hated. I'm just gonna bow out because I think I gotta play dirty because they playing dirty. You diss Wale without playing dirty. You niggas was at the game the same night that the song dropped. He could have did that same shit with Drake. He could have did that same shit with Kendrick. They would have respected it as MCs, and if they didn't, fuck it. His fans, the people that love him, would have had more to stand on too. But just bowing out and then coming back and saying this and oh, I could have did this and I would have won that. Like, nah, nigga, we don't want to hear it. You'll forever be number three, and that's fine.
And to your point, we got a record from you in the diss, like in the battle, in the beef. Like
Mm-hmm.
you did produce a 7 minute record too. It's not even
Playing.
like it wasn't like it was a verse. It wasn't like it was just a short, like little 2 minute song. That's how they, artists make music these days. It was 7 minutes of him just saying, Kendrick, you ain't shit. None of your projects mean shit. All the other shit in a J. Cole way. And then you took it back because you realized, one, I think you probably realized no one really gave a fuck after hearing it. And then two is just like, oh, these niggas got some nuclear bombs. But I don't want nobody going in my closet like
And
that.
I was just about to say that too. Ain't no telling
Like,
what he had, and he
we
like,
don't
oh
know
shit,
what
nah,
he exactly.
don't,
He don't
I
want
don't
nobody
want them
going in the
niggas
closet
coming
like
after
that.
me, bro. Yeah, so ain't no telling what he had in the closet, but it was a dope song. I will say that I was excited to hear it.
Well
But do
produced
you
too.
like well
Well produced.
produced, like
Yeah.
super bars, like all of that shit was perfect? Do you like the IG drops, or do would you
I do.
prefer it be on DSP?
I do for this era because IG drops, you get instant comments, you get instant reactions, more so than just a random ass dropping on Apple Music and all that stuff. Where people gotta be, unless I know Apple Music has a thing specifically where like if you star one of your favorite artists, anything that they drop, album, music, songs, whatever, you'll get a notification. But on Instagram, everybody's always constantly scrolling. So like if you follow J. Cole, you're eventually gonna pull up to that in your scroll on your timeline. It's just a more instant reaction. I thought it was actually dope, actually. Because he just catches everybody. It's one of the few ways to still catch people off guard.
Yeah, I think selfishly for me, I don't, because like it don't play. Like you got to sit there. I can't do nothing else on my phone but sit there and look at that fucking screen of the cover art.
Bro, he
I would
just
rather just
this is your old man rant for the week.
It
Go
is, man. It is, man. I be like, why the fuck they put it on here? Just put that shit on DSP, man, or YouTube or some shit, man. God, I gotta sit here on Instagram and listen to this shit. Yeah, no, because I don't read the comments, but you're right. I guess I could be reading the comments while I was doing that. But
Yeah, just seeing people how people react to it. Like it was interesting to see what Cole fans are like still to this day. Cause to it's a sad day when you think a nigga number one and he really ain't. And you've been
yeah,
champion that for a minute. You
that
know what
is a
I'm
fact.
saying? Like it took shit. And this is
That's
no
why I wanted to
disrespect.
hear from him extra because he would have been on here
Yeah.
caping. He was in the group chat capping for this is an amazing song and blah. Nigga, shut up,
Nah, 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 nah,
shut
nah,
up,
nah.
nigga.
He lost that title long ago. I'll ask you before you move on, are you anticipating the fall off? I was gonna well,
uh,
one, are you anticipating the fall off? And two, that's now probably the greatest title
he
in hip
spoke that
hop.
shit into
Probably.
existence. He spoke that shit like that's just like that big life after death. Or Tupac naming his shit Machiavelli and then died. It's
Hey,
the
bro.
same,
Hey, it's
same
up there.
vein, bro.
It's
It's like
up
right
there.
there. Am I anticipating? Yes, because I want to hear where he goes. This song reminded me of my favorite J. Cole project, which is the 2014 Forest Hills Drive. It played a lot of the same notes in that first verse and some of the shit that he was talking about. Um, and I feel like he's a lot better rapper than he was in 2014. So I want to hear what that sounds like now. I'm waiting on it. I'm not anticipating it though. It's not. I'm not gonna run to it. Like it's just gonna be okay. J. Cole dropped the album. Let me see what it sounds like, and it can be a classic, and he still will be number
I
three.
was gonna ask you, can it be a classic? Because for your point, like honestly, to me, this sounded like Friday Night Lights a little bit. I don't know why I went
Yeah,
that
this went
far
back.
back,
Yeah,
but
it went
like
back.
it sounded somewhat like Friday Night Lights. And to me, his best mistake is Friday Night Lights. His best project is 2014. And if he's in the middle between those two, projects as far as like energy and mindset for this upcoming album, he's in a great space. But because of everything we know, and even just how we've been reacting to this song, it's like I feel like he has a salary cap in my mind when it comes to how great he can be. Because like if we can't listen to this record and just come away being wild
Being
without
impressed
having
by it.
exactly, and not to say it wasn't impressive again, because he's great at what he does, but
Nigga, so what?
it's like kind of like watching Paul George versus LeBron James. It's like both of these players are very talented and they can only like 5% of the world can do what they do. However, you know the difference. Like no matter how much
See,
I'm watching Paul George play, I know he can't get to that level that LeBron can. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like it's just a matter of time before you figure it out. It's like at first it was just like we didn't know if at first it
it's
just
like
felt like
the
go
it's
ahead.
like the 300 when the Bentley pull up. Like did Cat Williams say that? Like
Mhm.
if the 300 look like a Bentley to the Bentley pull up, you're like, oh, okay, that's the
Exactly.
Bentley.
Exactly. And that makes me think like, can this even be a classic album? Because it's like, wow, like I don't even know if I would. I think he already has his classic, and that's it. Like this is
Which 2014?
yeah, 2014 is his only classic in my mind. When it talks about albums. And I don't see him doing anything as good as that moving forward because at this point, I don't believe it. I don't believe most of what you're saying.
True, I agree with that. A lot of it's gonna be, to your point, with not believing him. A lot of it's going to be subject matter. What is he going to decide to rap about? If he give me a whole album of how I'm the best rapper and the sky split and the lions roared because my verse was this, I'll skip. I need there's gonna have to be more context, I guess, to his life or his journey from the last album to fall off. Like there's gonna need to be more personable stuff and not just him rapping about being a great rapper because that's it. That's sale. Like we know how good you is, but we also know you can't compete with the top two niggas in your genre. So
Mm.
it is what it is. All right, next man, Ti had an amazing announcement. Well, I would say not so stunning announcement over the weekend. Nick, he said he is retiring from live performances. Now, this comes off the heels of him winning a $71 million lawsuit for the OMG girls. Does this surprise you or is it right on time?
Um, this is somewhat surprising because again, he's still a big figure in Atlanta, and there's always a concert going on in Atlanta. They always be trying to call up somebody to come
Mhm.
out perform here and there. So if he's taking his name off of that list, then I'm more surprised by that. But I'm also kind of not surprised because he has been moving more towards this comedy world and trying to be more of a stand-up. So maybe his live performances are going to be that more so than anything else. Um, but overall, in general, I was impressed to see T.I. perform in concert. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'd rather see Jesus perform than T.I. in concert, but that's just me. But I know that's your boy, so I know you probably feel different.
Yeah, there's certain pockets that I like. The symphony joint that he did not too long, or the orchestra joint that he did not too long ago. That's a cool Ti thing. If he were to do anniversary of trap music, anything like that, I would still go to that because yeah, that's probably my favorite rapper. But I do understand him at this point being like, I'm not ever doing a tour again. Like y'all are never getting me, however old Clifford Harris is, out on the road for consecutive dates, especially after I just got a $71 million lawsuit. Oh no, I got too much money now to have to do this. And he's did it long enough that he showed his love for this, and he shows another passion, like you said, with doing the comedy and stuff. I'm looking forward to see, with as talented as he is as a showman, because I like his comedy and I think he's kind of funny. So being in movies and things, I'm very interested to see what doors that this opens up for him, since he's going to have more time. Will he get back into the podcasting space? I doubt that. Movies, the comedian space, but I do think this is going to open up the door for us to see him a lot more somewhere, just not on stage. And I ain't mad at that, being a fan. I'm a fan of the overall personality.
I see you trying to still play Bale's bondsman this late in the hour. I didn't know your office hours was open this late, but don't try to act like this $70 million lawsuit is the reason why he bowing out. We know it's based off of
It is why.
this is based
It
off of
is why.
this is based off of a cumulative survey done as far as like, is this worth me putting my old ass on stage? No, it's not no more. Yeah, the crowd ain't what it used to be. I'm not saying that T.I. can't get a crowd. Ain't no disrespect to T.I. fans. I'm just saying in 2024 and moving forward, this nigga is making a purest business decision. Don't bring those, like, no one's really coming out to see him, my boy. So this $70 million is a nice little thing to fall back on. Cause yeah, them tour dates was looking like, all right, bro, this is I'm getting too old to be doing this.
I believe I agree with that 100%. Like I'm if I'm Ti, I'm never going on a tour again. Like I'm way too old for that, and I got too much money. I got way too much money for that. Next, Benzino just came out and said, Nick, that he is making a documentary. You may not have been born yet, of the '95 Source Awards,
I was born.
a monumental event. A lot of takeaway moments from that, as far as the East Coast ain't got love for Death Row. If you don't want your producers dancing all in your videos, the South got something to say. A lot of shit happened at that Source Awards. A couple of fights backstage. That's one event. If there was an event or a moment that you could have documented and turned into a doc with hip hop, what would it be, Nick?
Um, Again, I was alive, so don't act like I wasn't there. I was just a young lad though while this happened. Um, One, I'll say this. If the doc is done with quality, this is what I'm basing my answer on. Like it's done
Yeah.
quality, well done. Because you said Benzino, and I'm still thinking about that. It's like who's the head honcho behind this? Because that usually tells you how things are going to get done. But again, I had to just read up more on like what all happened during that Source Awards show that year, and that's basically what's been the foundation of my adolescence when it comes to hip hop, as far as growing up in the East Coast, quote unquote East Coast West Coast beef. Um, and for all those like iconic lines now with Snoop Dogg talking about some, then the East Coast ain't got no respect for the
I
West
love
Coast.
Snoop
And
Dogg and Dr. Dre.
yeah, Suge Knight talking about some if you don't want a nigga dancing in your studio. And then for John Singleton to be up there talking about some, we need to end this East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, all that shit. Like so much shit happening. As yes, I would love to see a documentary. That damn near is a movie in itself. If we kind of like doing just a 90 minutes of just pure chaos at an award show in the height of probably one of the greatest eras of hip hop. So yeah, I definitely will be excited to see that. It's just that I know we're not going to get the full participation because some of them niggas is literally locked up that could speak on it at this moment in time. But if I honestly think this should be a movie based off of what I
Yeah.
was reading and what I remember. It's like, yeah, this is a movie.
They do need to bring a professional in, like you said. They need like Bill Simmons and 30 for 30 crew to come in and do this. Like they can't
At
leave it
least
up.
50. I
Yeah,
know
at
Benzino.
least 50, bro. We can't leave it up to Benzino to do
Nah,
this. Like we
nah,
can't.
nah.
It's too much good there. So yeah, I would definitely want to see this. I'm signing up for it. If there was a specific moment or event in hip hop history that I would want turned into a doc, it's the lure around the Machiavelli album. I would want to see that 7 day theory. They claim he recorded the whole album in 7 days, having documentation of day one to day seven when the first song was done and the last song was done, what may not have made the cut, the studio sessions. I would love to see that in like it's not real time, but in a documentary form. That would be something that I would be glued into. I know there are plenty Pac documentaries, but there's never been one based around a project. Most of Pac's documentaries are based around his personality and his career overall. If I could focus on one project and one moment in time, it would be those 7 days that he did record Machiavelli, the 7 day theory. That would
I'm
be mine.
I'm I'm torn now, what you just said. I would say my one of my number one overall picks, if I could have multiple of them, would probably be a documentary on the recording process of Speaker Box Low Below. Because
Mm.
I feel like obviously I'm a huge Andre 3000 fan. So I just want to know how and why he went in that direction when that was the first time anybody was going to get a full length or multiple songs by him in one collection. Because that's basically his debut album um as a solo artist. So like seeing that side, and of course, Big Boy, of course, I want to see just both of them create just music. But him going in that direction, which basically sets up multiple genres in hip hop down the line, like that's one of them for me. Like
Facts.
that,
That's a
and
good one. Because I would
yeah.
have loved to have seen Big Boy face when he heard that. I would have
With
loved.
Roses, when he heard or hey y'all, see it, hey,
Hey, boy.
I know he was like, nigga, what
I
the
know you like, man, what the fuck is you doing? But it
hey,
came in worked out.
we gotta give more respect to Big Boy on letting Andre be Andre. A lot of
Let him
niggas
cook.
they ain't
A lot
gonna
of
let
niggas,
their
yeah, you're
homeboy
right.
they ain't gonna let their homeboy cook like that, bro.
That's a fact. That's a
Another
fact.
one,
It is.
another one would be Lauren Hill's Miseducation. That'd be another documentary I would like to see like how she created that. Because
Really?
that's the only thing that she has ever produced. Period. So yeah, let me just see see how you got there and maybe she
Was
reveals
it a
why she
fluke?
nah. It ain't a fluke because she's a talented artist. I just think it was more so like, why did you just want to stop with this? I feel like
Yeah.
there's kernels of an origin story of like how that process predicted where she just didn't make anything else after that full length project wise.
That makes sense. Those are two good ones. All right, man. Moving on with these quick hits, and then we'll get into the wins and the losses, and I get you out of here, Nick. Nelly, Cornell Haynes is back in the news. He officially announces the return of Apple bottom jeans. Can't wait to see those on some nice, upstanding young ladies in the upcoming future. See what those fit like. My question to you, Nick, especially we from two different eras, so I can't wait to hear your answer to this. My question to you would be, what is your Mount Rushmore of hip hop clothing? I can go first if you'd like me to.
uh Go first, but I will say before you get into that, the marketing, at least from what I've seen on Instagram, as far as Nelly announcing him coming back out with apple bottom jeans was phenomenal. He just had a fat ass with the jeans
Yeah,
on, and it
that's how
was
you
just
do
looking
it.
at it, and he was just like, "Look, we bringing these back out," and then everybody and they mama looking at that. You know what I'm saying? He's a marketing genius. But go ahead with your
Facts.
Mount Rushmore.
Rockawell, Sean, I know it's probably frowned upon to say, but Sean John. I don't know if this, but I'm just gonna because so many people in hip hop would. It wasn't specifically tied to a rapper, but Fat Farm. I guess you can say Russell Simmons had Fat Farm.
Mhm.
So Rockaware, Sean John, Fat Farm. Mm, man, this is a bias pick because I know it probably ain't up there, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. I gotta go with vocal. I was fucking with Nelly's vocal little line and shit like that. It was
Yes. So
actually vocal might have been Outcast.
you don't even worry about it, bro. You don't even gotta look that up. We just go move on. My thing was like, I didn't know if you were talking about like a rapper's clothing brand, like they had to actually rap to have and their clothing brand, or were you just talking about in hip hop in general? Because to me,
See,
those lists
I
could
did
be
hip hop in general.
yeah. So hip hop in general, um, I gotta say FUBU,
Yep.
um, Rockaware, um, Fat Farm, and then it'll be Sean John.
Yep.
That's the four. Like I think if we're just talking about hip
That's
hop,
a
yeah,
good four.
they were enough. They were the brand recognition. Nah, I ain't talking about the Machiavelli sneakers back in the day. Shit, what if 50 had 50 had some sneakers too. Um,
He had the G Unit sneakers.
yeah,
His
the
shit
G
was G Unit
ones.
only.
We could even include Shaq if we're really talking about Shaq. Should be honest, since he did have a platinum record, uh, a hip hop record back in the
What
day.
did what did
Shaq
Shaq had
had
clothes?
he had shoes and the diesel. I thought he had some
I remember the Shaq shoes. I had the Shaq
yeah,
sandals.
yeah,
I had them.
exactly.
Them
Yeah, so
joints was
I
terrible. That man,
garbage.
hey man, that man had me walking around in the sandals with a tennis shoe bottom, but
Hey,
it
bro,
was like the Uncle Grill sandals with the toes all out at the top and shit. I can't believe it. I had them, bro.
that's how talented he was at what he do.
Ah, shit, that
He
is
had you
true.
looking goofy as hell
Hey, it is true,
in
man. Just because it had
Tennessee.
Shaq name on it, I was looking crazy with the Shaq shoes on in a Barkley jersey.
But
Uh,
it's crazy that we don't get any like literally independent owned black clothing brands anymore. They're always now partnering with a big
true,
clothing brand. Like it's not like Kanye didn't come out with Yeezys on his own. Like
right?
imagine with like he wanted to partner up with somebody. Like these
Even
days, like go ahead.
Pharrell went with Louis Vuitton.
Yeah,
Like everybody else partners will say, yeah,
it's partners with somebody. Like you don't get those like Jay-Z and them owned it, Rockaware. Fat Farm was owned by Russell. You know what I'm saying? Like Sean John was like it's like it's interesting, like based on especially like how we know how much you can make being independent versus going with the company. People still would rather go with the company.
that's true. I will make a switch since you said it. It made me think of something. I'll take Vocal off and I'll put Marathon. Nipsey did it the right way.
Yeah.
Nipsey did it like how you wanted to do it. Then after he got it independently popping, started partnering with Puma. So yeah, I would say Marathon is my fourth. Shout out to Long Live Nip. All righty. Nick, I don't know if you got to hear this, but we'll touch on it. Glorilla, she dropped her debut album. Did you get to listen to it? Did you like it?
I did listen to it. One of the baby mamas I'm talking to out here, she was telling me I didn't listen to it till yesterday. So I was it was surprising that you hit me up about it because she was like, "You sleep, you need to listen to that Glorilla." And you know how these East Coast chicks are out here, but they damn near they personality like Remy Ma. So I knew she was on top of it. So I listened to it a little bit, and I was actually pleasantly as far as like I know she was talented. I'm not trying to say she's not talented, but like she exceeded my expectations with this. Um, she showed some versatility within this, especially there was a song, I think it was called well, let me go to it. She showed some versatility with like hers, the way she crafted certain songs, like Stop Playing. I think it was Hold On and Procedure. Like there were some records on here. Obviously, you got TGIF, which is it's just a hit. But like she was able to weave in certain songs. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know that you would go in that direction or you could rap on that beat. So I liked it more than I thought it was. And she may be here to stay, bro. Like I think I'll definitely check out her next project for sure, depending on how things go.
Um, Shout out to Glorilla, man, Tennessee native. Glorious is the album. I do not see the numbers for the first week sale on there, but I was with you, Nick. I seen a lot of people talking about it. I'm like, well, I like Glorilla. I like her personality, but I don't really think her album is for me. But then I got to listening to the album, and I'm like, okay, this shit's kind of, it's riding kind of
Is it,
like, you know what I'm
bro?
saying? Like, it was a great effort for a debut album. This was nostalgic almost because she's had mixtapes, she's had projects, but this actually sounded like an album. Like this got
Exactly.
Kirk Franklin on here. This got Money
Mhm.
Long, Sexy Red. Um, she did a great job, bro. Just as a man that don't even really listen to this like turn up ratchet female music, I respect it and appreciate it for what it is. But I'm not running to it. I did like Lotto 777 album. I like this album, bro. Like her team is doing a wonderful job with picking the beats, just the things that she's talking about. Like my favorite song on here is the one with Money Long, uh, Don't Deserve, where she's rapping to her homegirl about a nigga who ain't shit and how he don't deserve to be with her. that's the thing that I'm talking about with female rap a lot of the times when me and AB are going over. It's like you don't get a lot of different perspective. It's a lot of twerking and a lot of, I'm bad bitch this and got money that. But I think this was even the song with Kirk Franklin where she's rapping about like I ain't perfect. This not lyrically, I want to be clear, but this reminds me of an album like the Rhapsody or somebody would put out with the different subject matters. Where I'm not just talking about turning up and partying, I'm actually showing you that Glorilla is a real person. Like I love what they're doing with her, making her like more. I see her at the Steelers games every week. She was just at the Steelers game with her dad. She's expanding upon that profile that you see with a Lotto or a Cardi B or a Sexy Red and showing like I'm a real person too. I'm not just here to shake my ass. Like I love that for her. I think this is a great album. I would, like you said, I think she's here to stay. She got the personality to be here to stay. I saw Jelly Roll shout her out on Twitter and saying that they wanted to work together, both of them being from Tennessee. That would be big for her. I think it's straight up from here. Like this was great. This is a great debut project. I hope it sells well too.
I do too. I fuck with Glorilla. I'm always nervous with these days with new artists when it comes to full length projects because it seems like everybody's scared to drop an album after you have like a few hit singles.
Mhm.
Um, but I will say this, Lou, it just made me did think about it because you brought up a good point. She don't got a fat ass, right? So we gonna have
Mm-mm.
to listen. You gotta be talented
Gotta be
now because
something.
you ain't got a fat ass to fall back on. You know what I'm saying?
You
So
can't you
you
can't
gotta
just bend
so
over and twerk. Mm-mm.
we y'all leave it at that point. So I think that's
Yeah.
why like she actually has enough talent to keep us around because it's like okay, like you like I think we're getting to that point. It's going. It took a minute because female like rap died off in like the mid 2000s at one point because it was really popular, and then it was just Nicki in the 2010s for the most part, and then now we're in the 2020s where you have multiple women you could kind of go to, like you mentioned, but it seems like now they're just breaking into that next layer of like, all right, we understand that you could do the sexy route till it's dead. What else is there? Who else is going to take that next level? And I know Rhapsody may not get her flowers that she deserves now, but she'll be a pioneer down the line for other women to kind of, I think, expound more upon on what their subject matter is. Because I think we are in anticipation of like the next big, like iconic rap star, and it may be just a woman who is like doing everything that we look at with Kendrick, Drake, and all that. Like that's gonna be the next one.
That's a good
So,
point. You
so
think she
like
could surpass like a Lotto or a Cardi B as far as being a number one or Megan Thee Stallion? Do
I
she got that
think
enough?
she is like she continuously surprising me.
She
And I
does.
have low expectations for new artists. So it's not like it's just I'm saying this about just female hip hop artists, but it's just like I have like we talk about this all the time in our chats, and I'm like, bro, who's really next up? Like Kendrick Cole and Drake
It's
have
over.
been here for like 15
Yeah, that's
years now.
over with. Yeah.
Like these are old heads now. Like who was underneath that? I mean, you could mention Travis Scott, you could mention maybe Gunna, maybe Thug. I don't know, but either way, those are all within one area of rap. It's not like they do the things that we know a mainstream iconic rap star is who can do all of it. He can do the hood
Mhm.
shit, he can do the introspective shit, and he
That's a
can
good
do
point.
and he can push the culture forward with creativity. It's like who's that in the race? And I'm like, I don't know if Meg is that. I don't know if Lotto is that. I don't know if Glorilla is that. But I know one of them got to be that for the
I think
things to go further.
I think Glow is the closest because she's the one. Like as a man, you don't feel like like you're not gonna ride around listening to Lotto. I'm sorry, like you're just not. You're not riding around listening to Meg. You're gonna listen to the album and check it out, but you ain't gonna be at the light like nigga your head banging to that.
Right.
Glorilla kind of had
You
those crossover songs where as a nigga you don't feel bad about listening to it. You like, oh, she going hard. Like the
may be
Yeah
right.
Glow and to get them, she can kind of fit to both fan bases. And if she continues to like build on this personality that she's showing people, she's out there. She's like, I seen some interviews where she funny, like the accent, how she talks, like it's just different. And you brought up a good point when we're talking about Drake and we're talking about Kendrick. The thing about them is, yeah, that they're great artists, but they have this appeal where you can cross over. Travis Scott, Gunna, like they're great artists, but there's not a mainstream appeal to them.
They don't
I
got
think
bars. They don't
yeah, they
got
don't
bars.
got bars. Yeah, like
You know what
a
I'm saying?
regular rap man just can't sit down and listen to Travis Scott if you're not a Travis Scott fan. Like you can
Exactly.
like the beat And you can like a feature that he has, but you're not gonna listen to him like, oh, he's going in. And that's going to prevent him from ever being as big as a Drake or a J. Cole or a Kendrick Lamar. But somebody like Glorilla, easily digestible bars, personality is great, picks the right beats, says the right stuff. Like she may be one of those ones where we're looking at it a couple years from now, like, damn, I can't believe how big of a star she is.
Exactly. And she's the one out of the bunch that I didn't expect to get to that point because I didn't know she could put an album together like this. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts.
to me, like I could argue her debut album is better than Meg's and even
Yeah.
Lotto's at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as we're just going for debut album, like okay, like this is something that's really impressive. And I love how she shouted out Yo Gotti, so you know he's still behind the boards, so maybe he is the one who helps assist with picking those beats that she just seems to float on for the most part. Like I don't like
Facts.
you mentioned, like when it comes, well, I'm just gonna give it to the city. Like when it comes to Memphis and production, like when we talk about this type of
Top
production,
tier.
like they damn near top. Like if you go
Top
back
tier.
from Gotti, Dolph, Key
You go back to
Glock,
three
like
six.
the 3 6, like them niggas don't miss when it like when there's a beat that needs to have to be had, they got it. So I think I give credit to the city, but I'm really I'm fucking with this.
Yeah, I agree. I'm fucking with it too. Y'all go check out that Glorilla titled Glorious. We'll give you the first week sales next week sometime or something like that. Before we get into some wins and some losses, Nick, Joe Budden. Joe Budden made a claim. They were talking about mixtapes on his podcast, I believe, and he says that he had a better mixtape run than Wayne and 50 Cent. True or false?
I don't even you couldn't even get it. You
I
couldn't even
seen your
finish the
face.
sentence
I seen your face.
because it's just like, bro, it's like we understand that Joe's been a podcaster. It's getting to the point. Damn near been a podcast as long as he's
As
been a
long as he
rapper.
was a
So
rapper.
so it's like he has opportunity to talk shit and to speak on his legacy because he's still building that. So of course he's gonna put himself and his name in that hat as far as music. For rap fans who grew up around that time where mixtapes were a really big thing. I say all that to say is he's a fucking liar. Like no, like no one would ever bring up Joe Budden in a conversation. It's like, bro, he up there with Gucci, Wayne, Jeezy, um, all 50, all them. It's
50
like, nah,
Cam.
we're not
Yeah.
doing that. Why would we ever do that? Like who would make that case outside of Patterson?
Now, I understand Joe being the person he does. I listen to his podcast every week, so there's a disclaimer there. I know his personality. I get what he's saying. He's not right. I agree with you. He's definitely not better than Wayne. I listen to more of his mixtapes than I have 50s, but I just wasn't on the G Unit wave like that. I didn't really start fucking with 50 to that first album drop. But there are still people that are in front of him, like a Cameron, like a Jeezy, like a Gucci, as you said. And realistically, I don't think nobody's fucking with Wayne. Like it ought to be Wayne, and then you can put yourself in another category with everybody else. But as far as the mixtape GOAT, that's Wayne. Like it'll
It's
never be
it's
like
a
because they
it's a
don't even make
tie.
mixtapes no more. Who would you
It's a
time with?
it's a tie with Gucci because
I'll give you
both of
that.
them both of them
I
did
can see an argument for that.
both of them did something very different. Wayne, to me, made mixtapes mainstream enough to where they making a whole spoof about it on the Cleveland show, a cartoon, on Fox because of Lil Wayne. And then on top, but on the other side, like Gucci was so he was probably the most consistent rapper of his time during that era. It was like, I'm gonna give you full-length albums damn near every week, every month for the next
With
decade.
original beats. With
With
original beats.
original beats, original songs, and with that amount of volume with music, it's like one of these songs gonna hit, and he obviously gave you a plethora of hood hits and some mainstream hits. And it's like Wayne was just more of like, bro, I would take your favorite artist, favorite record, and make it mine. He
Hmm.
he was the Drake before Drake. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it. It to me is 1 and 1A. No matter where you go, I can't really argue. But I prefer Wayne, mixtape Wayne, because to me the Dedication series alone, Dedication 2 is probably one of the
Yeah.
greatest listening experiences.
That may be the best mixtape
Then
of
it
all
may be
time.
his best. It's between that or the what was he? Damn, what was the No Ceilings. I think the first one.
No ceilings. And if you old enough to remember, like Carter 4. That Carter 4. Oh, excuse me, not Carter 4.
I was gonna say,
Squad
you
4.
talking about the Squad Up series? Like that was to me that wasn't the peak because like once he to me it was like the Drought series, like Drought 3. Like when you go to Drought 3 and all that other stuff, like again, we naming just mixtapes of like
Yeah. These are classics.
he's
Like
just
you can
going.
argue any
I
way
can play
you
the
want.
I can play Dedication 2 outside a day, and
Facts. And people will get hyped.
people know those records. So it's just like, bro, it's like
You brought up a
it's yeah.
you brought up a good point with Gucci. And this is a lot of shit that the New York people they try to like disclaim or ignore. Like Gucci, he willed himself into being a rap star. Like he like I remember, man, my like this was like I was listening to Jeezy. Like this was a Jeezy time period for me. But my little bro and them, when we was back home, like they always used to pull up to the spot with a brand new Gucci. I'm like, where do y'all get this shit? Like I literally remember asking them like, where are y'all getting all of this shit from? It's no way this nigga is coming out with shit every other week, and y'all already know the words. This shit ain't even been out a week, and they'll pull up banging it like head nodding word for word with them. Like, bro, how? So you bring up a good point. Like that Gucci mixtape era was a different time. It was totally different. I would like to put Jeezy up against him, but I know I can't just because of the quantity of what Gucci was doing when he was really doing it. So Gucci is a really good one.
And on top of that, like when you mentioned like he willed himself, it was like he didn't have the bar, like for the standards of rap at that time was still pretty
Facts.
high. And so he didn't have the bar. So people really are asking you, like, what the fuck do you see in this? Like what's going on? But it was just like the hood nigga again.
Bruh.
This is why I listen to the streets more than anything. They knew
Facts.
what was about to happen, and they just rolled with it. And it's one of them things where, like, because I don't think artists will ever work that hard again. I
Mm-mm.
don't think
No.
artists would ever
Nope.
work that hard again. Like no
Mm-mm.
one would ever put themselves through the G League like Gucci did.
Facts.
You know,
Nigga, I'm willing myself up here, nigga. If I gotta
exactly.
be
Like
12th man on the bench. And it's like what you said too, like in hating, because I see it now and I understand, but hating back then, I would ask my little brother, like, why are y'all listening to this shit? And versus answering, they're just word for word with the bar, like trap kitchen, blah, 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 cooking in the kitchen. You like, man, get this shit out of here. But it makes sense. Like you said, the streets was fucking with it. He could do no wrong. So actually, it was a different time, man. So
yeah.
shout out to Gucci. Let's get into some wins and some losses before we get out of here, Nick. First, guys that are listening to the show, make sure y'all go comment, rate, subscribe, like, go to the YouTube and tell us what you think about Cole's new single. Let us know who you think the best mixtape run belongs to and what you thought of Glorilla's debut album, wins or losses. Nick, first, we got Pharrell. He appeared on Hot Ones, the popular wing eating show. He ate his wings with a fork and a knife. Is that a win or a loss?
I'm of two minds. For Black culture, it's a loss. However, if I've been a rich nigga for as long as Pharrell Williams is, outside of pussy, I mean a lot of things with a fork and a knife. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry, I can't really blame him, bro. Like this
Hey,
nigga, this nigga is the director of Louis Vuitton. You know what I'm saying? It's like or Gucci, whatever the fuck it is. Like, bro, are you surprised he on some rich nigga shit?
if this had been anybody else, Nick, I would have rolled my eyes at this topic when I read it and have been like, this nigga capping. But it's for real. And you know what I expect? I expect Pharrell to eat his wings with a fork and a knife. Nigga, this shirt I got on cost $9,500. Nigga, yes, I'm eating this shit. I don't want no sauce on me.
I don't want no yo cheap ass sauce
I
on me.
don't want none of this bullshit y'all got here on my clothes, nigga. So yeah, I'm gonna actually give this a win to for real. Fuck it. If I was for real, I'd eat my wings with a fork and a knife as well. I've
I,
done worse.
I heard y'all last episode. I still have to watch. I want to see the movie he did piece by piece. I think the Lego shit.
Mhm.
But are you somewhat disappointed that he went that route with his story because you know how legendary it is?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of I would have loved to seen it play out on screen with the people there, but I know he couldn't have got the cast that he got if he had done it for real. Like this nigga got like Jay-Z wouldn't be in this movie if it wasn't a Lego movie and he didn't just have to do the voiceover, along with a lot of other people who are like famously a part of Pharrell's story. So
Mm.
I would have loved to see it in person, but I understand why he did it this way. And I'm interested in it.
I
I
want to
ain't never
see
seen none of the Lego shit.
because I know I haven't either. But like you mentioned, I heard good things. But I want to see. Not everything needs to be made like a Straight Outta Compton or a Notorious or whatever. All Eyes on Me film. I want to get a Last Dance version of like kind of what
Ooh.
Kanye did, like what Kanye did with Genius. Like if we got a Last Dance version of For Real
Mm.
Life or Jay-Z, like where it's like we just having the video
The
footage
GOAT
there,
conversation.
and then people will just chime in here and there who want to participate, but we get to see the video like that last like that's cinematic to me. Especially I mean, granted, it was during the
That's true.
penny, we was all inside and we had nothing other choice but to watch it. But at the same time, I was gonna watch that shit regardless.
Oh yeah.
That shit is history. The Michael Jordan era. Like I know there's a hip hop version of The Last Dance where we're just seeing like maybe well he Jay-Z already did this with the Black Album when he
I
did
was gonna say the Black Album probably the closest thing.
yeah the Fade to Black kind of
Like, I'll
thing.
never
But
forget. I saw that Fade to Black and who was that came in there and played that beat that that might have been Timbaland played that Dirt
yeah
Off.
yeah when he did, bro.
That was an iconic that was just like when Jordan was telling one of his stories or whatever it may be. That shit was iconic. I'll never forget that. But I do see what you're saying. That would have been epic for real. I would love to see that from
And
somebody in hip hop.
think about all the beats he's done. Like that we would love to see. Like, bro, I want
Yeah.
to see you craft that. Like, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, that'll be fire. All right, next winner or loss, we had the storms out in Florida. Thoughts and prayers to all our listeners down there that survived and stuck it out. Dame Dash, though, Nick, he says he delayed evacuating during the storm. He says he didn't want to look soft. Is that a win or a loss?
Bro, the year that Dame Dash is having is
It's time to pack it up, bro.
bro. I was about to say, Lou, this is more a question for you. Is like at this point, bro, how much evidence do you need to know? Like,
It hurts
it's
me every time.
it's over, bro.
Pause. It
It,
hurts.
it's over, bro. Like hearing that's the most goofiest shit that I've
Oh,
ever heard him say, and he said a lot of shit. Um,
that's
because we know how devastating. Like we see Anderson Cooper, damn near get blown away. Like I like for him to say that is just like, oh my goodness,
some of
bro.
the goofiest shit I've ever read.
Just pack, like you said, bro. Just wrap it up. But take your mic away. Who is still interviewing you at this point? Who's getting these quotes out of you? Who's asking to hear from Dave Dash?
I can't believe he came out and said that. Like, it might be okay to think that it's really not if you got a family. Like you should be able to protect them
If
first.
you want to
But
live, that's what you care about
yeah,
life in
like
general.
to even feel like I gotta say this. Like I didn't want to look soft, so I said, "Man, nigga, shut up, nigga. If you had been floating up the river and it'd be the R.I.P. name Dash, we talking about something different. It's a loss. This is a super loss. Last one, win or loss. FBG Duck mom, FBG Duck, who was killed in Chicago on the Golden Coast, really where you shouldn't be shooting at. His mom is suing Lil Durk and King Von's estates over the death of her son. What say you to that, Nick?
Um, it be like I feel like with this kind of situation, it is interesting that we don't always get to hear the parents of the people that are involved with gang related stuff, whether it's like they're the victims of it or if their son was the one that was involved with it as far as being the um I don't want to say criminal because we talking about death, but just like being really involved, like how they feel about it, who they feel is accountable for the life of their child being gone or whatever.
Mhm.
And I feel like this is just like misplaced anger because it's like who do I blame because he's not here? I gotta blame everybody who was around or anything that was associated with. But so with that in mind, I don't really have an issue with it. But at the same time, I don't feel like this is gonna solve anything, or this isn't really where what like what that energy should be pushed for.
Mm, I agree with you. I hope she get whatever she's looking for. It's well documented and known the beef that happened between them. I can't say that. Well, I don't know all the circumstances by it, but whatever his mom needs for clothes, I feel like that she should be able to get. So this is a win that she's pursuing this case. So I agree with you there. All right, Nick, that's it for the wins and some losses. On Decker of the week. First, it'll be you. coming through in the clutch while AB was out on assignment, man, helping us get this episode out so the people can still get ready for it Wednesday. And
No
I'm gonna go
problem.
to the YouTube page. I'm gonna go with Public Enemy B, longtime listener. Shout out to my guy. He said I would probably. We asked what Kendrick Lamar album would you want to see in concert where he performs it in full? He says, I would probably go with Damn for the one night only Kendrick show, hit after hit on that one. A Good Kid, Mad City stage play slash musical would be dope as hell. Last week we talked about going to see A Good Kid, Mad City on Broadway. If somebody were to do that, that would be fire. So
Yeah,
shout
I
out
agree with that.
to Enemy B and his comments on YouTube. Make sure y'all go comment on YouTube so you can be on Decker of the Week. Nick, do you have anything to put us on this week?
I would probably say, well, nah, I ain't gonna even say that. I would just say this. I've been listening to more R&B stuff as I'm out here. And it's something that we'll be doing Dead End 365. They do a daily drop of new music from different albums, mainly hip hop R&B, but sometimes will surprise you. The one that I have been listening lately came out in 2021. It's by this group called Children of Zeus. And the album I'm listening to is called Balance, bro. I would recommend that to anybody. That's on the music tip. And on TV shows, I would say two of them. One of them you already mentioned, but because their season finale is coming up soon. Reasonable Doubt.
Yes, sir.
Make sure y'all check that out. That's the underrated
Might
black show.
might be
It
my
might
favorite show of this year, man. I ain't even gonna hold
bro, especially with the way I re binge watched it too from the beginning. And
you.
bro, I told this to Nate, but I gotta tell this to you right now, bro. Watching it from the beginning, knowing what you know how it ends in the season is hilarious.
It is.
Because watching how all that play out is like, bro. I'm not gonna ruin it for nobody who has seen it yet because I want to tell Lou something that he already know. But watching it from that perspective is hilarious, bro.
It's some black ass shit.
It's
It is
hilarious.
some black ass shit. Yes, 100%.
And then also another show we're doing for the Frames Per Second podcast. Make sure you go follow that. FPS podcast is IG and Twitter handle. The Penguin series,
Hmm.
HBO original series. It's halfway done. 4 episodes out already. They only got 4 more left, so it's a total of 8. If you like The Sopranos, if you like crime shows, not to say these is gonna lend into that heavily, but it will remind you of some shit. So I think it's really good. Make sure y'all check it out.
Definitely played some of the same notes. Again, I want to ask you about what you're going to say about Reasonable Doubt once we stop recording because I want to know, and that may be my favorite show of this year, man. I haven't enjoyed watching anything as much as I enjoyed that. Like when I was binging that, like that when you're watching a show that you really like and you binging it and you know you got like 8 episodes to go. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dive into this nigga. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna lock in, and that's how I was with Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Shout out to Jack Stewart, man. I don't know the real name. I can't pronounce it. But my put-ons, I got two. One is music. One is TV. The TV, Apple TV, cooking. Y'all gotta watch them. They'll sneak up with some on your ear now and then. They got a new one called Disclaimer. It's 2 episodes dropped on Friday. It's really good. I know Nick it's white people shit, but I think you may like this suspenseful mystery drama. So Disclaimer on Apple TV. And for my music, Big X the plug, man. He also dropped this weekend. His album was called Take Care. I got to listen to that. Very underrated flow, man. Big X be getting off. He has some great subjects on here as far as what he be talking about. There's a song, I think, called The Life of X, or the last song on there. No, it's called The Story of X. Just telling about his come up, 2 minutes and 19 seconds. The album's only 31 minutes, but it's 15 tracks. It's a really good album, man. Y'all go check out that Big X the plug. We're going to be reviewing that also, too, on Dead End 360. So if you are into this album, you want to know what me, Ken, FIFO, and others think about it, check into that Dead End 360 as well.
That's crazy. You said 30 minutes and 15 tracks.
Yep.
Boy, music ain't
That's
the same
perfect.
though.
That's perfect.
Hey, boy.
Hey, he get in and get out. Like he ain't wasting no time, Big X. He gonna give you the first little bars, maybe a bridge, and then I'm out of here. Like, it ain't nothing else to talk about.
If that's the case, I may join y'all if you haven't recorded already.
We haven't. FIFO just hit me up today and he was asking when I was free. We may do it before Dead End Sports tomorrow. Y'all check out Dead End Sports tomorrow with me and Nick live at 9 p.m. to hear our latest sports take. I may call out sick because the Cowboys lost over the weekend, but hey, we never know. No,
Well,
I'm
you
gonna be
saying
there.
tomorrow? You saying tomorrow? By the time this come out, it's Wednesday.
Oh
We
yeah,
got
yeah. Y'all check it out on
every Tuesday.
Tuesdays
Yeah,
at
Tuesday
9.
nights.
Yeah, y'all check it
Yeah.
out Tuesday nights at 9. So Nick, appreciate you joining us, brother. This has been the On Deck TV show. We out.